You know what pisses me off? When these YouTuber types go around the internet and they talk about GNU+Linux distros, and of course they don't call them GNU+Linux, they only refer to them by the name of the kernel. But what's especially annoying is when they call even systems that are actually named GNU/Linux, such as Debian GNU/Linux, they still call them quote Debian Linux unquote. And that's just it pisses me off. Why? Just why do they have to do that? Just think about it. If it's actually called GNU/Linux, then at least if you just called the system by the name that the distro has, like you would say quote Fedora Linux unquote because that's what the Fedora people call it, then at least that makes some sense, right? That's just an unbiased, objective way to refer to the system, right? You're just calling it what developers call it, okay? That's at least understandable. But then for you to go out of your way to refuse to say GNU, I find that ridiculous. Now, here's the thing. I do add GNU to our name where it isn't present already, such as in the case of Fedora. I would say Fedora GNU/Linux or GNU+Linux. Fedora GNU Linux. I would add GNU in there, but I don't make my, should I say, political agenda a secret. It's very much I don't know if the word political is the correct, but let's just use that term. It is very much a political agenda for me to add the GNU name in there because, well, I see it's the correct idea, of course, but I don't try to pretend that I'm not driven by that sort of an idea, that I don't have an agenda. I don't pretend that I don't have an agenda. I very much do. I say the GNU is necessary in the name. It is the correct way to refer to the system, so I will add it where it isn't present already. So in case of Fedora, I will add GNU to the name if I talk about Fedora GNU+Linux. Because I see that's the correct way to do it. But then, what's these... But the thing is with these YouTubers, they pretend like they don't care about such things, but really, they have a political agenda also, because here's the thing. When you talk about Debian GNU/Linux, and you say, quote, Debian Linux, unquote, is that not you having also a political agenda? But unlike me, they like to pretend that they don't have any agendas. They like to pretend that it's just like they don't make it clear that they have, like they just say it like that. I don't know how to describe it, but it pisses me off, really. It pisses me off. Now, if they said that I am against GNU, and I will not say that name, so I will say, quote, Debian Linux, unquote. If they said that, then at least I would respect their way of talking more, because at least then they make it clear that they are actually opposing it, and they are actually firmly against the values of GNU. And, well, I can at least respect that in their usage of the term in that sense. I of course do not agree with it, but I would at least have some understanding as to why they do it. But to then like try to like have this narrative of like you just refuse to say GNU, and like you just pretend it doesn't exist. Like you're talking about, like you're saying Debian followed by, in their case they just say the kernel, but that's where GNU should also go. So if you just want to say Debian, then just say Debian. If you don't want to add anything after it, just say Debian. If you don't want to say GNU/Linux, then just say Debian. But for you to say Debian followed by the name of the kernel, but you ignore GNU, then that's just the anti-GNU sentiment is real. There is very much, like, it's not. It is very much also an agenda of opposing the GNU, because, well, how else do you explain it? If you talk about Debian GNU/Linux, and you still refuse to say the GNU, what is it if not an agenda against the GNU? What else could it be then? I've seen YouTubers even have a text wall on the screen where it reads Debian GNU/Linux, and then the YouTuber speaks it out loud with their voice. They are reading the text, and then when they get to the Debian GNU/Linux part, they skip GNU and they say Debian, quote, Debian Linux, unquote. Like, how ridiculous is that? Like, it's literally written there on the screen. There's a text wall which says Debian GNU/Linux, and you skip the GNU. Come on, like, what is that? Like, this person was reading the text. They read the text basically word to word, exactly everywhere else except for that one name there. How do you explain that? How do you explain that if not that these people have a political agenda against GNU? What else could it be? I'll try to put those examples in the description of some YouTube upload if I find them, so you can go and take a look at that sort of a crazy situation. But I don't know if I will ever find that video. It was some time ago when I saw it, but still. Anyway, regardless of that, how ridiculous is that? What is it if not a political agenda against GNU? I make my agenda clear. I say that GNU should be in the name, and I will make that very clear, but these people try to pretend that they don't have an agenda themselves. And that's just wrong.